Hi, my name is Shade. Welcome to my first YouTube video. I'll be making recipes. Today I'll be making curry shrimp with roti, and I'm gonna make some just tomatoes on the side with some jerk sauce and some plantain. Since I was young, I've always learned through my family and Jamaicans, you don't measure anything really, you just go with the flow. Cooking is for everyone. It can be fun and simple. Oh my god. I need to dry my literal face real quick. Oh. This is how you cut an onion. So we're just gonna continue cutting it. I'm gonna get 1 cup of flour and then 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar, about 2 teaspoons of butter. I'm gonna get a little more. So now I'm going to mix up the dry ingredients with the butter too. I'm gonna get some milk, and then I'm just gonna add a little bit at a time and kind of eyeball it. Now I need to kind of work it, and basically need to get some flour on the surface and just work the tracks today. And then I'm gonna let the dough rest, and this is just a wet cloth I'm gonna put on top of it, just like that. Okay, so now that we have our dough resting, we're just gonna go ahead and prep our vegetables. So we're gonna cut up some scallion or green onion, garlic, some parsley, 1 onion, potato, and some pumpkin, as well as some habanero. So first, we're gonna start with the garlic. I'm not really sure how many cloves I'm gonna use yet. I kind of just eyeball it, but I love garlic, so I'll probably use a lot. I also know I don't chop perfectly, which is why I've almost cut myself many a time, but that doesn't really matter, you know, because it gets the job done. It's okay if there's some chunky pieces in there, because we're gonna cook it for long enough, it's kind of just gonna melt down in the food, basically. Next, I'm gonna do my scallion. I'm just gonna cut these little nubs off, I always do, and then just slice it down the middle. And if there's some dry pieces, you can peel that off too if you don't like that. And then I kind of just like that. Next, I'm gonna do the onion. I'm just gonna do like fine slices. Woo, Jesus! Here we go. And this is how you cut an onion. So we're just gonna continue cutting it. Oh my god! I need to dry my literal face real quick. Oh, that onion was so strong. So emotional when it comes to food, you know? Okay, cool. These onions are gonna go in here, and if I need any more, I'll cut them up later. I'm just tired of crying right now, so we're just gonna take a break from them. Bawling my eyes out. Next, we're going to do the potato, kindred spirit of mine. If my dad's watching this, please don't roast me about how much of the potato I'm wasting. Fight me, honestly. Whoa. This onion is literally trying to ruin my life. I will not stand for this. So we're just gonna cut these into cubes so that they cook through all the way. Next, I'm gonna do the pumpkin. I'm just gonna take out all of this inside stuff. So I like to cut them up into smaller pieces first because it's so hard to peel. Now I'm gonna chop these up into cubes. We're just gonna say that's enough because I don't feel like peeling anymore. We're going to do the parsley. We're not gonna cut up that much, probably just like half of this. We're just gonna like bunch it up. Give it a rough chop. You don't want to let go, like release too much of the flavors. And then I'm gonna cut up some habanero. So I'm gonna leave the seeds in because that's how it gets all spicy and nice. So now that all of our vegetables are prepped, we have the dough again that's been resting. We're gonna need a little butter, and this is vegetable oil. So now I'm going to add some vegetable oil to, this is about a half a stick of butter that I melted. Okay, so I'm gonna get some more flour just for the table again. Next, I'm gonna cut this into 4 sections. And then we're just gonna start one section at a time. And so for each piece, you're just gonna get a little of that butter and rub it on the surface. Then you're gonna just slice it right down in the center, but just like halfway, and just start rolling it like a little semicircle. And you'll get a little cone. And then you're just gonna shove down both sides until it's like a little ball, kinda. And so we're gonna do that with all of them. So we're just gonna put them back in the same bowl, and then we're gonna cover them with that wet cloth again, just so that they stay moist. So these are all the seasonings that will be going onto the curry shrimp. Curry powder, thyme, all-purpose seasoning, some roasted garlic powder, some black pepper, some salt, and some jerk sauce that we'll be saving for later. Okay, so I've already peeled the shrimp and I'm just gonna be seasoning it. So I'm gonna be adding a little bit of the curry powder, not too much though, a tiny bit of thyme, some roasted garlic, some all-purpose seasoning, a pinch of salt, some onion, some garlic, some scallion, and a little bit of the habaneros. Then we're going to mix it up. Okay, and then we're gonna let that sit for a while. Honestly, the longer it sits, the more flavorful it gets. We're gonna add some oil to the pot, just enough to get the surface wet, really. We're gonna put that on like medium high. So we're gonna add like enough to where when you tilt it over, you see like a little bit like that much. And then we're gonna add some curry to the bottom of the pot, burn it a little bit like I was saying, a little bit of that garlic powder, thyme. Now we're gonna add these pieces of garlic, some onions, some of these as well. And now we're going to add the potatoes to the pot, as well as the pumpkin. And then I'm gonna add a tiny bit of water. Then we're gonna turn it down to like medium low and cover it and let it simmer. We're just gonna go back to the dough. And so we're just gonna take each of these little balls. We're just gonna pat it in our hands like this a little bit so they're more round. We're gonna flour it again, and then also the rolling pin and just make little circles. And we want these pretty flat. Then I'm gonna do the other one. So now we're gonna move these into the kitchen because we're going to fry them in a pan. So I'm just gonna check on the potatoes and pumpkins to make sure they're cooking. We're just gonna add some water and maybe just a little bit of seasoning, and a little bit more of that all-purpose seasoning. And then we're gonna cover the pot and then let that just continue to cook for a little bit longer. Okay, so we're just gonna turn on the pot that the roti is gonna go in. And put that all the way on like low, basically. And so while that's heating up, we're just gonna go ahead and start buttering the first piece. We're gonna get that melted butter again, and then just put it on the top of it like that. Now we're just gonna add some vegetable oil. Make sure that it's coating the whole bottom of the pot. So we're gonna take this first piece and then put it buttered side down, and then just let that cook. So while the roti is cooking, we're just going to add the shrimp to this. So I'm just gonna take this shrimp and add it to this pot. But I'm also gonna fill this container with some water to get all that extra seasoning out of it. And then we're also gonna add a little bit of butter, and then keep it on low again and cover it and let it simmer. We're going back to the roti, so we're just going to butter the top and then flip it over. And while that's cooking on that side, just go ahead and butter your other one that's gonna be next. And so we're just gonna move this to a plate and then get the other one in the pot. So it's getting a little bit of a gravy. I'm just gonna mix it around. I like a lot of gravy, so I'm gonna add more water. And then just remember for when you add water, just to season the pot again, because you're gonna lose some of that flavor. So add salt, just a tad more of the garlic maybe, a little more of that all-purpose, and then I even add some of that roasted habanero just in case it loses spice too. So cover that again and let it simmer. So I'm just getting ready to put our last piece of roti in there, buttered side down. So that last piece of roti is cooking, so now with that leftover melted butter, actually what I'm gonna do is take some of that garlic we had left and put it in there. Add a little bit of that parsley we had chopped up from earlier. A little tiny bit of that roasted garlic powder. I'm just gonna mix that all up. So while these are still hot, we're just gonna add this mixture with the parsley and garlic. And then the shrimp should be ready, so I'm just gonna check it. So that's perfect. I'm gonna turn it off now. So now that the shrimp is done cooking, we're just gonna move it over to the side while we prepare these tomatoes. We're just gonna put it on about medium. We're gonna add the rest of this butter that we had. Then we're gonna use the rest of that garlic that we cut up. I'm just gonna add another pinch of salt to this and some thyme as well, and a little bit of that roasted garlic powder too. At this point, we're also gonna add a little bit of the parsley. Okay, and now we wanna add these tomatoes. So I'm not gonna add all of them. Let's see, just enough to fill up the pot. I want the flame pretty high because we want to get them all brown. While this is happening, we're also just gonna multitask a little bit and turn on that back flame all the way on low to fry some plantain. I'm gonna add probably about, just to get like a shallow fry, so that's good. So we're just gonna wait for this oil to heat up, and I'm gonna cut the plantain. So I'm just gonna go ahead and peel the plantain. I'm gonna start slicing them, but I'm just gonna cut them into these diagonal slices, and I'll lay them into the pot. 4 at a time is probably good. You don't want to overcrowd it, the pot. And these tomatoes are smelling like they're cooking really well. So now we're gonna add that jerk sauce. Make sure to turn that heat a little higher. And it is gonna be a little spicy because of that jerk sauce. I'm actually just gonna add a tiny bit of this brown sugar just to sweeten it up a bit. And these tomatoes are just about ready, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the burner underneath them. So the plantain's ready to flip. It's that nice brown color. I'm just gonna get these out of the pot, put them on a little towel so that they can soak some of that oil out of them. And so I'll add the rest and then they'll be done.